Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Xenoblade 3. It's back, baby! Xenoblade is back in 3 form, and today is time for the very first episode of the Hero Class Showcase. That's right, we are going to be taking a look at each of the different heroes across this game, looking at their strengths, their weaknesses, general usability. We're not going to go super in depth because the game is still new, there's still plenty to learn, and I'm sure there are many discoveries yet to be made. But as far as this goes, we're going to showcase the strengths of a class that I was particularly looking forward to, and that is going to be the Signifer, or Signifier. Now, this one is a class that I was super anticipating back when it was revealed in the promotional phase leading up to the release of this game. Back when they announced that Fiona was a character in this game, Fiona, the character you see right on the screen right now, people looked at the random buffs and thought to themselves, okay, yeah, this is getting benched. And even though you probably won't be using the hero herself that much, her class is, in my opinion, one of the most fun classes in the entire game. The great thing about the Signifier is that it's all about taking control of the situation and just maintaining a commanding position over everything that's going on in the battle. The nice thing about the Signifier is that it has access to, I believe, like practically every single buff in the game. The way that it works is that when you go over to the arts, you have the what's it called? The random buff applied to yourself, and then the Cry of Faith. The Cry of Faith has a recharge gauge cost of 6, so it's a little bit more on the expensive end of things, but considering that all you need to do is heal people, buff them, apply effect fields that increase the abilities of your party, you're going to fill this up in no time, and you're going to want to make sure you activate this the moment it becomes available. Even if someone gets KO'd during this, it's best that you just fire it off, give everyone the advantage, then revive someone because you're also a healer as well. So the fun thing about the Signifier class, though, is just because it has potentially access to every single buff in the game. There's so many buffs in this game, but despite the fact that there is a random element to it, it's actually surprisingly reliable. In fact, it's actually not that bad of an idea to have all three characters, or I'm talking about having three characters rather, being the Signifiers, having only healers be in the game be them. Obviously, you may wish to change them out for a more reliable hero, especially if you're going for chain attacks. Ashera is one of the most effective ones currently at the time of recording. But the nice thing about this, though, is that the moment you see any problems happening inside of the battle, using the Cry of Faith is going to turn the tide in your favor through the myriad of benefits that it provides. And if you have 3 people going on, you're going to have so many applied in so little time. You're going to up the survivability of everyone here and just overall limp your way over to the finish line if needs be. And actually, I've done it a couple of times leading up to this recording, actually, fighting against one of the unique monsters with just 3 signifiers and then my usual party. But, you know, it's really, really slow. It's not exactly the most efficient way of doing things. It's very time-consuming. But the fact is, you can do it and win very reliably without risking any wipes because you got 3 healers to speed up the revivals of anyone that falls over, and then you can use Cry of Faith to apply more buffs that will make it harder for them to feint. It's really, really good stuff. Okay, so personally, I would focus on Senna. You could actually have any of these classes on anyone that you wish. There isn't too much of a difference as far as I'm aware. I could be wrong about that, but I love Senna as a character. I loved her design when it was first unveiled, so obviously I'm going to be wanting to play as her as much as a lead, and the Signifer is a very good lead to use. Looking over at the skills that we have the Heal Harmony, which lets us gain some more talent gauge by healing people. Then we have the Aureole. Aureole, of course, gives us 1 random buff, and then the Resonant Flag will allow us to apply any of the buffs that we have. Now, going over to the master skills, looking at these master skills here, advanced cooldown is what you get from the War Medic class. Using it in fusion with Heal Harmony is really, really good because they are both range of effects buffs. So this is going to increase the defense of people standing inside of the vicinity, and this is going to heal the HP of people inside of the vicinity, making it useful on both fronts for the price of 1 space. Now, I also have the Multi-Blast from the War Medic. This is really standard healing. It does give me some talent gauge, that's all I'm using it for. and then I'm going to combine that with the Oriole. Oriole I'm going to be using quite a lot, so it's important to have that. And then I have the Shadow Eye from the Sword Fighter, which lowers aggro value, but it also increases the damage of the person that's casting it. However, this counts as an attack up buff, and using it in fusion with Resonant Flag means that we can pass it over to the rest of the party. This is a really, really big deal for buffing people up, especially during a chain attack, which you guys will be seeing later today. Now, going over to the what I was talking about, how this is a really, really reliable class. As you can see, my gems. My gems are terrible at the time of recording. Absolute rubbish, absolute trash. But it doesn't matter, because when you're a Signifier, you can actually get by really, really well with post-game content, save for hard mode and the super bosses. Obviously, it's very important to upgrade. I'm not saying that upgrading is not important, but for the purposes of today, when it comes to hunting down people that will give me the accessories and materials I need, you can get by just fine with very little investment on your gems, but just because the Signifer has so many advantages that it provides. That being said, though, I just go all in with the green healing stuff, give myself some more buff effects if needs be, Refined Blessing, life-saving expertise. It's very, very straightforward, don't have to worry about damage or anything like that. So, yeah, just general rule of thumb, don't be too intimidated when you see all the upgrades and think that just because you don't have all the material upgrades immediately, still work towards them, but don't sweat it too much because the Signifier will help see you through and help make up just all the little progressions that you'll have to do in the post game. Now, the other thing I want to point out is going to be the accessories. Currently, I am using these ones. The plate belt, it essentially makes Senna do less damage, but you also take 17% less damage. This is really, really important, just because you're not going to be doing very much attacking. You are going to be buffing the attack of everyone else, and in my case, I have 2 full metal jaguars in my disposal, which I will be using for today's showcase as well. And basically, by taking less damage, I can more reliably do buffs and keep myself alive. Being the healer, it's important to keep yourself alive so you can revive other people. And then I also have the crystal earrings. Whenever I cast an art, I will slowly build chain attack. It's not mega necessary if you're playing on normal mode, but I could see this being much more valuable on hard mode. I like to have it just because it's nice to have the option. But the way that things work, though, you're slowly building your way up to having all your buffs ready, all of your interlink levels ready, and then by that time, all that's done on normal mode, you're probably going to have a full chain attack gauge and more to spare, making a lot of waste. But I like having this just as a general quality of life change. And then finally, the Fraternal Badge. The Fraternal Badge boosts recharge speed by 45% when non-defenders, such as healers or attackers, are targeted. This is really, really useful too, making sure that I'm always able to reliably, in a bad situation, reliably build up my talent gauge again, so that I can use it, turn the tide in my favor, take control of the situation immediately. That's currently the setup I have for Senna right now. So you guys have seen all of that. You've seen the arts. When it comes to skills, I like the Capable Hands. Capable Hands is what you get from the Flash Fencer class. You can feel free to use all the other ones as you wish. I just prefer the general survivability of Defensive Soul and the ability to heal a little bit more. But Capable Hands is very, very important. Even with just the 90%, if you don't have level 20 Flash Fencer with Senna or whoever your Signifier is going to be, you could just use this and then do one buff, and then as soon as that one buff is cast, immediately hit the talent button, and you got 3 buffs right off the bat. No effort whatsoever thanks to Capable Hands. It's a great way to start things off, and you can kind of get the ball rolling when you're fighting against any of the bosses. Going over to the other Signifier I have, honestly, Tyon could be whatever class you want. He's not really the focus of this, but you could have him be a Signifier, or you can have him be as... Oh, it is pronounced Signifer. Okay, good, I was right. Signifer isn't super necessary to have on 2 people, but it is nice just to have a lot of buffs right off the bat as soon as possible, so that is a possibility. You could get him to any of the other healer classes, or an offense class. By all means, there's plenty of customization options in this game that we'll be getting into. But as far as the arts go, I don't think about it too much. It's basically the exact same when it comes to the regular loadouts, but when it comes to the master skills, I have the multi-blast again, advanced cooldown like you've seen before, and shield bash in case we need to do some topples. Having additional topples in the party is always nice because we want to go for launches. Launches, of course, are very important for gaining damage for chain attacks because you get a nice damage bonus during a launch, so it's good to have that in mind and having as much of that as possible. I don't think too much outside of that though. Like, it's good to have launches and topples on people. Having additional breaks would be useful as well. Just make sure you keep smash people, any of the smash arts or any of the like daze arts or burst. That's just a waste of space for the purposes of maintaining launches. And yeah, so that's kind of what it is. When it comes to the accessories I have for the other, it's pretty much what you would expect. Just giving myself a healing bonus. This is the highest one available because it's one of the Legacy of the Seven. You could go for a lower one, it's fine. And of course the crystal earrings that I mentioned before, and a general HP boost. But Senna is going to be the name of the game right now. But of course, as we know, a support unit is only as good as the attackers, the DPS, and tanks that accompany them. So we'll quickly go over their builds real quick. We have Lanz as a lone exile. He has basically just aggro accrual abilities on him. Yeah, like maximum HP, aggro every second, and then boost damage to people that are targeting him. I actually could switch this out for something else, but I've been doing fine, just fine without it. And then we, of course, have our dodge tank of Mio. She has agility boosts, HP boosts, and aggro generation, as you would expect. General stuff, keep up the survivability. As long as you're constantly buffing them, they shouldn't die very much. It's going to be your DPSs that die. Just like a normal MMO, you're going to have your DPSs being really, really heavy. And that's exactly what we got with Noah and Uni. They are both Full Metal Jaguars. Full Metal Jaguars are awesome in this game. They're essentially like the ether cannons, where they just hit so many times, and combine that with the multipliers of chain attacks, you're going to be putting out some serious, serious damage. So, we'll just quickly check out this. Yeah, give me some crit. That's odd, but yeah, they just changed it automatically, I guess. Anyways, so when it comes to the accessories I have for Noah for the Full Metal Jaguar, attack boost, get any of the attack boosts that you wish. I'm currently using the one from the Legacy of the Seven, which you can find in the Cadencia region. And then the fiber wraps, you can get this by farming a level 100 bird boss in the Istio region. And the Mercury rings, just like pretty much like the critical headband, right? Or the red headband. You want to have that critical rate, so that's kind of what I got for Noah. The fiber wraps are the most important, I would say, just because the additional damage from the launches are nice. And then for Uni, I have the boost to the fusion arts. Again, you find this in the Cadencia region. I'll have to put up a clip of this or something, but yeah, you want to have this available. You go to an island that you had to go to in the main story, and then activate, like, climb a bunch of like vines, climb up some cliffs, activate a harpoon, then grind down and pick it up. And then we have the fiber wraps. Again, you want to have this. And then the silver belts, like basically, yeah, just the equivalents of this. Like I said, if you don't have any of the Legacy of the Seven, they are quite easy to get, but if you want as an alternative, there are the equivalents of them. So just, yeah, like, feel free to downgrade if need be. But yeah, that's pretty much all I really have to say on the matter. The name of the game is the Signifer. I love this a lot. I was very happy with how it turned out. I love to play as this one. And yeah, so what I'm going to do is that I'm going to quickly cut over to the first demonstration to show you guys the strength of the Signifer. I have to quickly change the hero, but that's a bit of a spoiler. Or like the HUD kind of spoils the existence of some of the heroes, and I don't want to get into that too quickly. So yeah, see you guys there. Okay, so here is the party that we're going to be using for today's demonstration. It's pretty much everyone in their roles. We have Lanz and Mio as tanks. We have the two Full Metal Jaguars with Uni and Noah, and then the two Signifers with Tyon and Senna. I have a Shara with us. She's very reliable. She's not going to be the focus of this particular video for now, but she is going to be insanely useful for closing out the fights. So, also, I want to point out something I mentioned in the intro earlier, is that the gems, like, again, I want to reiterate, I don't think that upgrading gems is pointless. Upgrading gems is very, very, very important in general. But for now, for the purposes of today, and for people that have maybe very, very recently beaten the game, at the time of recording, the game literally came out like a week ago, so not everyone has necessarily all of their gems to max upgrades just yet, and you might feel like you need to really get all of that in order to enjoy a lot of the post-game content and fight against the bosses. The gems being upgraded is only really necessary if you're fighting against the highest level super bosses, and of course, down the road in a couple of months when the challenge mode DLC is a thing, that's definitely going to be important too. But for now, the reason why I want to do this without gem upgrades is because, like, take out that intimidation factor, you guys will definitely get your gem upgrades, and I will too. Just make sure that we're all on the same page so that I don't have a giant chasm of experience between the people that are possibly watching it, as well as myself. So let's fight! Always, always, always begin, create a regeneration field, and start things off with your talent art, and right off the bat, we have lots of buffs. Make sure you focus on your cancels too. This particular boss is so weird because he's constantly going backwards, and also, as far as I'm aware, this boss is also, like, he has so many tendencies to suddenly become invincible, and you really need to go far in to get an auto attack on him. It's very strange, but you know, uncomfortable situations make for more skilled players, or at least that's what I like to tell myself every time. Alright, we're going to work on our fusions. The weird thing about this particular boss I need to point out too, is that even though Senna's Ouroboros can break with her arts, it's very, very inconsistent for some reason, and I'm not sure why. So usually what I do is that I also have to wait for Noah and Mio to be at Interlink level 3. Alright, just keep an eye out. Keep an eye out. You notice that whenever there's a red line, that means that the Fraternity badge is going to kick in. Increase the speed of my recharge just a little bit better. So as you can see, he's going invincible again. This happens from time to time. If you don't see him do an invincible for a while and you're about to go for an Ouroboros, it's a good idea to just wait. But as far as the Cry of Faith goes, just fire it off as often as you can. If someone collapses, don't worry, fire off your Cry of Faith, then revive the person to give yourself a little bit more talent gauge. Yeah, honestly, if there is another bonus class that I could pick up that heals extremely reliably too, but for the purposes of this video, we're very, very early on. I don't want to spoil too much just yet. Also, because we have two healers, since we have two healers, it's easier for us to heal up our tanks and our attackers. Alright, Noah is at level 3. I'm gonna quickly switch over to Noah. And you really gotta get up in this guy's face, too. And we're gonna try to go for a break. The moment I see him go for a break, I have to get Lance. Come on, break. There we go. Don't go invincible. Yes. Launch. Launchy, launchy. Okay, you want to disengage. And buff. And then mash that plus button after applying your buffs. And here we go. Now, this is the first time I've actually done chain attacks on the channel, so I have to quickly run you guys through my mentality as I'm doing these. We're lucky, we got Ashera first. Ashera, you want to get her as soon as possible because she is going to boost the damage in the long run for the overall chain attack, meaning we can more reliably close out this particular fight. The other priority that I would consider is also Uni. The reason why is just because we have two Full Metal Jaguars, and Full Metal Jaguars' arts attack with ether damage, and Uni, her chain order reduces the ether resistance of your enemy. We're going to start things off with Ashera. So, whenever I begin with Ashera, the very first chain attack that we're going to have to do is start off with our tank. The reason why I want to start off with a tank with a higher value is that we don't accumulate more points than we need to. Because with Ashera, the moment you finish her order, or you finish an order with her, you're going to have a free 200% tactical points and bring back 3 characters back into the reactivation. so it's okay to use up 3 right now. So just don't accumulate too much. You want to stay beneath the 100% mark. Alright, so we got our 40% damage. The next is going to be Uni. If I started with an attacker, we would have gotten a multiplier, and that might have overshot. So we don't want that yet. And then finally finish with Senna. Like I said before, I use the Resonant Flag with the Shadow Eye. That is going to give everyone a damage boost. And you want to use that as often as possible. Also because it's a healer, healers never go past 99%. Okay, so far so good. So as you can see over there, we increased the damage ratio by 200. Now, here is the other thing. I mentioned that Uni is a pretty high priority, but so is Lans, in my opinion, because he gives us attack up when he finishes. What I'm going to do is I am going to have Uni first. Alright, and start things off, I'm going to go with Noah. He is the lower of the attackers when it comes to TP. Make sure you get plenty of hits in. At 61% is very good. Then I'm going to switch over to Senna again. Resonant Flag with the Shadow Eye. 99%. And then now we have Uni with the 44%, and this is going to get us over to 150%, meaning that we will reactivate 2 characters. So Fatal Barrage, let's go. Oh yeah, I should probably point out that I'm using the Fatal Barrage, which is the B button on my loadouts. Okay, so now we have quite a bit of damage, and we're going to bring back 2 characters. At least one of them is going to be a Full Metal Jaguar. Okay, sweet. So the next thing to look at, I would say that... Yeah, do we care about Unblockable? Not really. But we already have Uni. We don't want to activate that just yet either. Alright, let's go... This also means I won't be able to get Lans then, huh? Maybe I should have gone for Senna, but you know what, that's fine. So like so. Again, just go with the exact same rotation that we had at the very beginning of this chain attack. Just stay beneath the 99, because now we have Uni at a sizable 62 TP. I think part of the reason why it's a good idea to get Mio, I guess, is that if we have to activate Noah, then we're going to have another Full Metal Jaguar order completion. Yeah, none of those effects were particularly impressive, but it's fine. And this is going to be the last one. As you can see on the chain attack on the bottom right corner of the screen, after I select this, it's going to go empty, but instead of finishing, we're going to finish an Ouroboros pair. So we can either go Noah or Tyon. I would prefer Noah because of that Full Metal Jaguar finisher. You know what? Let's just build up some points. Why not? 15%. It's gonna slowly just eke some points out, and this should definitely get us at least. Hopefully, it'll get us to past 150%, but not quite 200. But that's okay. It's not as important for now because we're playing on normal mode. But as far as it goes, though, it's pretty decent stuff. And we got ourselves the overkill bonus and a whole cycle still waiting to go. So this is going to be good. Alright. So now we can really finish it off. We got the overkill. The fight is completely won by now. But you know what? Let's just build it up. Let's get greedy. Get that 82 from Mio. Go over to Senna to make sure that we're not capping past 99%. And also we're getting that damage boost too, right? And then finally, Uni. Now she has 109 TP. We're going to get a large bonus from this. Not that we need it. He's already dead. And that's 240% for a total of 1,415% damage bonus. But it's pure overkill, so it doesn't matter. This is fantastic how it turned out. Also, I should probably make a video about how I played Xenogears and Xenosaga Trilogy. seeing these characters, huh? Yeah, that'll be for another day. 13 mil, baby. Not bad. Rookie numbers for sure. If I had gems, it would have been so much more. But as far as it goes, though, we were able to do it fairly reliably, even with people getting KO'd left and right. Using the Signifer and having two Signifers actually does a lot. The funny thing about it, though, like I mentioned, it's really interesting to point out that, like, the way that it works with how you would start off with just a simple lead and then constantly applying all these different buffs makes up for, the lack of resources that I already have with my gems. It's good enough to have good accessories, and most of these accessories are fairly easy to get. There are plenty of guides by now, I'm sure, to help you get them. But a lot of the accessories will definitely be helpful on top of the buffs that you get. So yeah, the Signifer is just super reliable as is, I would say, and definitely one of my favorites to go. It's a very, very safe playstyle. You're keeping the entire party safe. It's surprisingly reliable, despite having all that randomness. So guys, thank you very, very much for joining me on today's very first hero class showcase. I didn't really intend it to be like a super in-depth guide. There are many people, again, that have made some pretty fascinating discoveries with this game for the 1 week that's already been out. I mostly just want to have the showcase for this particular game just be a, hey, check this thing out. Check out how awesome this is. Check out how effective it is in this context. This is the tools that I've been using. This is how I play as them. I want to share that with you guys so that you guys can get a stronger perspective if you decide to start using them, if you take an interest in this kind of playstyle or this kind of character. So yeah, that pretty much does it for today's video. The guide is basically done, or not guide, the showcase is basically done. I actually have a couple of more words to say because this is the very first episode. So if you guys, you're not super concerned with this current channel that you're watching right now, feel free to click off, assuming you haven't already. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about what I'm planning on doing. And you know what? I'm going to have footage of me playing with the 3 Signifers that I did earlier today. So please enjoy that. So, yeah, today was the first episode, like I said, of a showcase, not necessarily a guide. It's a guide in the sense that, yeah, it shows you guys in the direction of how I would use something, but it's not necessarily a guide in terms of being super efficient or following the meta. The meta is forming, definitely. There are crazy, crazy discoveries being made right now. Like, I think the damage cap is, like, far and beyond anything that we've ever seen before, which is kind of ironic considering that chain attack damage has been nerfed compared to Xenoblade 2, but the potential is so much beyond that, which is ridiculous. But yeah, I mostly just wanted to have like this kind of thing where it doesn't really try to be a like this is how you must do things. And again, it's always been about like getting the most enjoyment out of a particular character if you enjoy that sort of thing. And for me, that's more important. It's more about picking up a game and say, "Hey, this is fun. Try this out. Enjoy this." There are plenty of guides out there. There are plenty of people that know their stuff, and it's very important to keep your mind open to them too. They have a lot of great ideas over how they would do things, and I would recommend checking out some of them. But as it is right now, though, there's a lot of stuff I want to do for Xenoblade 3. I want to do like a couple of initial thoughts stuff. I want like mostly commentary stuff, really. There are still going to be some gimmick builds that I want to point out. I don't want to disappoint you guys on that front because I know a lot of people want to see more builds like what you guys have seen today, but also some things for very specific points in the game. A lot of like internal discussion when it comes to certain parts of the game as well. There's quite a few things I want to do, so yeah, please stick around. I look forward to doing a lot of that stuff. And yeah, as far as it is though, like there's plenty that I do want to see. I still want to do streams and all that stuff. Just stuff's been busy. So yeah, if you guys have been sticking around, you've probably been on this channel for a very long time too, and it's great to be back. Xenoblade 3 is back, baby. So I'm looking forward to seeing how the rest of this game goes. So yeah, thank you very, very much, and I will see you guys next time. Take care, everyone.